Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'd like to talk to you about politics. And I know I can already hear some of you frantically pressing the back button, but I'll try and make it interesting. Or at least, I'll try. But specifically what I wanted to talk about today was coalition government. You see, right now in England we have a coalition government, and there's talks to make this kind of government a permanent thing. Now you see, normally in politics you have one party in power, but sometimes during a general election, if no one party manages to get a majority vote, a coalition government is formed. Now this is when two parties with different policies and political ideologies come together to kind of make one party in power. Now sometimes this can be quite difficult, because if you've got two parties that have completely different views, like the Conservatives and the Liberals, or for you Americans, the Republicans and the Democrats, it can cause a whole load of problems. And I think sometimes when you read about politics on the internet or news sites, they use loads of kind of political jargon, and it's kind of hard to get the gist of what's going on. So I'll try and explain the problems of a coalition government metaphorically. So if you imagine you've got a room, and it's your room, and this room represents the government. And because it's your room, you represent the Prime Minister or the President. And you love this room. You can do whatever you want in this room. You can get things done in this room. You can be efficient in this room. Now that is a normal government. But now I want you to imagine, same room, but this time, you've got a roommate who you think is a complete cunt. Now that's a coalition government. Now imagine this roommate that you have is irritating, and you have different opinions, and every time you try and do something, he tells you it's a bad idea. If you sit down to watch TV in your room, he'll say watching TV is bad. But if you sit down and try and read a book in your room, he'll tell you you're reading the wrong book. Even the most trivial things like when you sleep in your room, he'll probably tell you that you're sleeping wrong. So one time in your room, let's say you want to use Facebook. And as we all know, Facebook is just www.facebook.com. So you go over to your computer, and you type www.face, and then your roommate tackles you to the ground and says, no, Facebook is the wrong thing to be doing right now. We should be using MySpace instead. And then you'd be like, what? MySpace is stupid. We should be using Facebook. And your roommate would be like, no, we are not using Facebook. We're using MySpace. And then you'd keep arguing back and forth, and you wouldn't get anything done because you'd just be arguing all of the time, non-stop. But eventually, amongst all the arguing, you might decide to reach some kind of compromise. Hey, how about we meet in the middle? Like a compromise? Yeah. And you'll be really happy, and you'll be full of positive energy, the kind of unity that you're going to have with your roommate who you once disagreed with, but now you feel strong. And you ring on your friends and you tell everybody you know, hey, it's going to be okay. Me and my roommate, we're getting on fine now. And you take a picture of yourself shaking hands or hugging to show everyone that it's going to be okay. The roommate agreement is good. So you sit down and you discuss your extreme different views to economic policy. I mean, to social networking. Let's carry the metaphor on. And you decide you'll meet somewhere in the middle. So you type in www.facespace.com. And you press enter, all excited to see if it works. But of course it doesn't work. You just end up with a web page that says, wrong, error, 404, this web page doesn't exist. Because when you try and find a compromise between two completely different ideas or websites, there is no middle ground, it never works. And you see, at this point it's kind of embarrassing, because you've already told all of your friends it's going to be okay, and everything's going to be fine from now on. But of course it didn't work, because as we said, middle ground just doesn't exist. So what do? You instantly go back to blaming your roommate, and you say that it was all his fault. Should have used Facebook. Fuck you, MySpace is better. So really, what I'm trying to say is, having an argumentative roommate who has different opinions to you on everything and hates you is never really going to work. You'll just spend all the time arguing or trying to come up with half-hearted compromises that will never work anyway. And it will be a complete disaster. Did anyone manage to follow that? Is anyone even still watching this? Because when I wrote this at like 4 AM last night, this sounded like the best metaphor ever. I'll see you next week.